I put this on just for you, Dr. Mary.
Oh, bless you. There is no radio network that really plays a decent Christmas tune.
Oh, Imagine. I always do
Yes,
it wrong.
that's not a home. Try to remember a Christmas all alone.
Yep. Thank you.
It's not Elvis Presley, by the way.
No, it's Mud.
Mud.
You know that famous Christmas group, Mud.
No, they were a big group in the 70s. Their biggest hit was Tiger Feet.
Yes, Maz tried to get me to listen to that the other day. I had to pass.
She started bleeding from the ears.
It wasn't good. It wasn't great, no. This song isn't great either, but Maz Mary does.
It's got a nice
love it.
talky bit in it.
Maz's favorite part.
Talky bits.
Okay, so good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for playing that.
You're so welcome. You know, occasionally it's a little bit like serving meat at our house. I can get Dr. Mary to eat a tremendous amount of beans and non-meat protein.
Yes.
As long as
it always does taste fantastic. Mm-hmm.
As long as I occasionally pull out some big dead piece of a formerly alive animal and cook that for him. So he'll listen to a lot of like Michael W. Smith Christmas, which is asking a lot of someone who's not a big fan of Christian music, as long as I occasionally pull out Lonely This Christmas and some other
and anything
standbys
from the greatest Christmas album ever. What you should do this Christmas, actually, to be grateful for how you're doing in life, find yourself on YouTube Fairy Tale in New York by the Pogues and Christy McCall.
We did play that a couple Wednesdays ago.
It's a great Christmas song.
It is a great Christmas song in an odd kind of Irish sort of way. It's not a particularly happy Christmas
song. And actually,
song.
Here's another one for you. The Power of Love by, believe it or not, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, which was a huge Christmas hit in 1986.
Okay, well, we're not spinning albums today. We're talking about gratitude.
Well, gratitude for those songs. Grateful. Gratitude or grateful?
You have gratitude. You feel grateful.
That's the one. Thank you, man.
And today there's a perk to having a master's degree in
We're
English.
Conjugating all over the place.
Can I also just say, maybe I already said this week. Did I already say how much I want to have a PhD?
You did, because of all the hoo-ha.
Yeah. Still want that. Not going to get one.
I could just call you kiddo when we're done with it if you want. That was outrageous.
That's right. I forgot we did talk about that yesterday. I'm sorry. It was a long day yesterday. So, Gratitude Tuesday. Back to the topic at hand.
Oh, we spiraled.
We did. Sorry. So, my memories today on Facebook posted 2 really amazing memories, and then I have a third one that I want to talk about. Last year, on December 15th, we went to see the band's visit with our good friends David and Wayne. David and Wayne, you might remember, are the anti-mulled wine drinkers.
That doesn't really narrow it down, really.
That's true. But they had extra tickets to go and see the band's visit.
And they're both so generous.
Yes.
So they just invited us.
So we went, and not only was it a fabulous afternoon with those 2 spectacular men, but the musical was that kind of experience, live experience you have, where it ends and the entire collective doesn't respond because they're so moved by what they've seen.
It was a fantastic play.
And what I realized in looking at that photo was that's the last live theater we saw.
Oh my God, it was, wasn't it?
Yes. And, you know, we could have had no way of knowing that this disruption was coming. I mean, I suppose a few people in Wuhan, China knew something was possibly coming, but the rest of the world certainly didn't. And I am not at the forefront of pandemic research, so I certainly didn't know it was coming. But what that picture reminded me of was the gratitude that I have for my day job, for the work that I am privileged to get to do, which is to advocate for and support the arts, primarily at a local level. But, you know, supporting the arts is not the exclusion of an arts activist or an arts administrator. It's the privilege of all people who are alive and who want to participate in them. So that is one thing I'm grateful for, that we've had some incredible opportunities, including a year ago today, to see that beautiful musical. The second thing that showed up on my memories is that 2 years ago today, our boy Quinn graduated from college. And, I think that we still have a little lingering 1950s nostalgia in this country for one mom, one dad, one son, one daughter, maybe another child, a dog, a cat, a fenced yard, all of those things.
Picket fence.
Kind of those perfect families. And I just want to take this moment to express my gratitude for my spectacularly imperfect, perfect family. So at Quinn's graduation were my mom and her person, Bob, who's been in our lives for 5-ish years, my dad and my stepmom, Mary, who's been in my life since I was 17, Quinn's other grandma and grandpa, Randy and Margie, who've been in my life since I was 21, Quinn's dad and his wife, Cindy, his dad's been in my life since I was 21. Cindy and his dad have been married for, 6 or 7 years, I think. You, Quinn, and his now ex-girlfriend, who's still attached to us, Alejandra. So it's this disparate group. There's divorce, there's no marriage, there's stepdads and birth dads, there's third important men. So I've got my dad, I have my beloved stepdad, and now I have Bob. There's all these connections. Randy and Margie met Maz early on in our relationship and just were like, come on in.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been to their house in Brainerd, Baxter. I think they live in Baxter. Jake was at our wedding. We were at Jake's first wedding. We just have found a way. Well, I'll tell you how we did it. Because when I realized that Quinn Del Val, who is the center point, obviously, to all of these people, when I realized that Quinn Del Val was coming home with me, I kind of called all 3 sets of grandparents and just said this. This baby did not ask for this wackadoo environment. This baby didn't ask to have parents who chose not to get married and young and inexperienced and all these grandparents and all this. He didn't ask for that. It's just what he got. And what I am asking of everybody involved is, if you put your focus on Quinn and you don't focus on, well, aren't you and Jake going to get married, or who's going to see him for Christmas, blah. If we just put the focus on Quinn and don't make him pay the price for our unconventional family, then I think he can be okay and we can all make this work. And to a person, including you 5 years later, everybody said, yeah, all right. And it just worked pretty effortlessly and pretty beautifully for almost 25 years. It has worked.
Yeah, one of the good things about that is, unlike probably representatives of the United Nations or members of the same political party, you can put us all in one room and we'd all get on.
Absolutely. One time, Jake, Quinn's dad, called me early in my relationship with Maz. He'd seen him out, I think, at Duffy's. And he said to me, are you going to marry this guy or what? And I said, I don't know. I don't want to get married. We're together. We don't need to get married. And he said to me, well, if you don't, I will. I like Maz. That's a ringing endorsement. This group just figured out how to make it work. And I'm telling you that today, because I'm so grateful for all those people, because they have served such important purposes in my life, in Quinn's life, in our life.
Yeah,
it's just been incredible.
I mean, he's also got a very weird extended family.
On your side.
In my mother,
yes,
who couldn't be more Irish if she tried, lives in England. My sister lives in England. Jane and Chris, have always been really nice to Quinn. My mum,
Jean
really
and Mike have completely adopted Quinn and me.
Mike completely adopted Dana and Quinn as well.
Quinn's aunts and uncles in Ireland. I mean, Quinn has this, not Quinn's aunts and uncles, Maz's aunts and uncles in Ireland have adopted Quinn. I mean, I guess my point is, how could it ever be bad to have more people invested in you, more people looking out for you, more people who sort of have your back? How could that ever be bad? And in Quinn's case, in my case, in our case, it's actually been a huge blessing. Huge blessing.
That phrase, sometimes it takes a village, that comes from how Native Americans used to look after their children.
And African culture.
Yeah.
And yeah, everybody kind of does it better than we do. In other cultures, it's not surprising to have multiple generations living in the same house. Here, if someone moves in with you, it's seen as a complete failure. That's not failure, it's lovely. So I'm grateful for all those people, and I'm grateful that they all just set aside their own piece of the history of all of this and focused on Quinn. And let me promise you, I know that a big piece of Quinn's success is because all these people just said, we will make you our priority. What a gift. And then the third thing I want to acknowledge today is that in 2004, my mom and I were privileged to be with my grandma. I feel like she died late at night. So I can't remember if it's late at night tonight or if it was early in the morning this morning. But my mom and I were with my grandma in the nursing home. I was holding her hand. My mom was sitting down by her feet when we watched her transition from here to wherever she went. Heaven, I think. And I'm so grateful to have had those years with her. She lived in a nursing home literally across the street from the apartment that Quinn and I lived in. We watched her eat breakfast in the winter because the leaves off the trees had a direct shot from Quinn's bedroom to the nursing home dining room. So I'm just remembering my grandma and her incredible contribution to my life. Many of my not so great qualities are from Genevieve Edith Cars Bowman, but guess what? All of my best qualities are from her too. So I'm super grateful to have had her. And she knew you.
She did.
And this is why we call, well, we don't. This is why my mom calls him
afraid this
Walter.
yeah.
Because you may have heard this story, but one day we got in the car. I was driving. My grandma was in the front seat, and I think she thought that Maz was driving. And she said, I can't remember your name. I'm going to call you Walter. And I said, Grandma, it's Dana. And she looked over and she said, oh, I can remember your name. But she called you Walter from that point on.
Yeah.
I think because, this is supposition, but she had a great uncle. She had an uncle named Walter who I think she really liked.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. And so every time you see my mom comment about Wall this or Wally or Walter, that's where it comes from. So really since like 2003.
Yes, it did confuse my mother.
Yes, it did.
And my sister.
We don't need to go into that story today. But I think really what today is for is take some time and figure out the stuff in your life that you're grateful for. It can be something small like live theater. It can be something massive like the successful graduation of your child or the transitioning from life to afterlife of someone you love and everything in between. And really focus on what you're grateful for. And then, my last point of gratitude, of course, is my everyday state of gratitude for your sobriety, your continued sobriety, which is just, boy.
I'm very grateful for that.
I
That's
didn't
about the
birth-
only thing I'm grateful for. Well,
Thank you
the
so
biggest
much.
thing I'm grateful for, but everything else fell into place. That's
There you go. That's a nice recovery.
I'm going to go get a shovel, and I'm going to keep digging.
Maz will be on later with his apology at post. So
You know what I meant.
I do. Let's put a little more mud on as we send you off for the day. But really, figure out what you're grateful for today and spend some time focusing on it.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
I will also post the ingredients for tomorrow's recipes and the rest of the week. I'm sorry I forgot to do that yesterday. See you
And
tomorrow.
maybe this song.
We might post this song just because you're not going to get to hear it all. Bye.